Samsung updated the S24 Ultra and the S23 Ultra to the version One UI 6.1.1 with the latest October security patch, and most probably this is gonna be it before One UI 7. I'm using here the AGC by Big Kaka. This is Google Camera, and I am also using Egoist as a configuration. And in this video I'm gonna cover front camera, back camera, ultra wide, day, indoor, outdoor, and also night photos, so that we have kind of a complete overview of how stock compares. And the stock camera is set with all the whistles and the bells, advanced intelligence up to the highest maximum with scene optimizer. So it's time to start. The first shot that you see is from the main camera. How do we notice? The aperture is 1.7 on both shots. The stock photo is on your left and the Google camera photo is on your right, and we are already at 150%. Let's start analyzing and see what we are able to identify. Technically this is an easy shot indoors, but we do have also some artificial light, and the Samsung camera is already not exposing quite in the best way. We can see this here, it's clearly to be observed here and here, but the moment we start to zoom in, I do believe it is quite obvious. So the moment we really start to zoom in, then the image from the stock camera just gets worse, and the Google photo is able to preserve a bit more. We are already at 1000 zoom magnification, and can clearly see we have here some issues with retaining the forms and also of course keeping a good detail. So if you are to observe this one-to-one, you probably think it's the same photo, but the only obvious thing when it's not zoomed is really the bad exposure control. The highlights really are popping up, and the Google camera was able to maintain a better exposure, controlling the highlights and also the shadows. The next shot is using the 5x optical camera. How do we notice? See here, the aperture is 3.4. Let me try to align this. Now guys, this is here no-brainer, right? Even without a lot of zoom, we can clearly see that the Google photo is better. And if you have a different opinion, please share this inside the comments and I'll be glad to have a discussion with you. And everybody's entitled to have his own opinion, but take a look here. Specifically at the corners of the photo, we have this Samsung illness, we have excessive over sharpening and also noise. And take a look here at my south canvas. All right, it doesn't really look like that in real life. This here is muffled and you cannot even see the real color and the real contour. So this is not perfect, but it's absolutely better. And also the front object, this is kind of like the main star in this shot. If I have to zoom in a bit, here all these things that are drawn with a pencil by hand are just like mesh paper. At the moment I really start to zoom in, and on the Google photo you're still able to just retain this detail and understand that this is something that is drawn by a human. And this gets even more weird the moment we enter 10x. Now remember, the S24 Ultra doesn't have an optical 10x camera, while Samsung just decided to remove it, and instead of this of course we have 5x. So the 10x on both phones is actually a crop from the 5x optical camera. Again, the aperture is 3.4 on both of them, and there is something really weird with Samsung processing. Thanks to some of you, I do believe it was really in the comments that told me 10x pictures from the S24 Ultra really are crazy. Processing is very aggressive, most probably just to try to make the objects to be the processing is so aggressive, probably just to make the object on the front to stand out, but this only brings defects. So see here guys, there is something here that is apparently not there. And you might think that this picture is bright, it's better, but it's not better, because the moment I zoom in, right, you can recognize that this is paper. And here on the stock camera, it looks so artificial. And this problem with the 10x is even bigger, because even when zoom out, it still looks bad. Right, and I'm going to show you some other examples. At 9.9, the Samsung processing is actually better than at 10x, because the moment you enter 10x, they tweak the processing to somehow bring something more, but apparently this more isn't there. So again, it's an easy win for the Google camera here. But let me show you. This here is the photo taken by Google camera. This here is the 9.9 photo, and as you can see, it isn't so much different. And this here is the 10x. So the moment I start to zoom in, so this is 10x and 9.9. 10x is really so processed, it is absolutely disgusting, right? 9.9 would be a better option. You don't have 10x magnification, but it's still very close to the real. The Samsung camera uses way too much processing in this case. It could be scene optimized, it could be also the advanced intelligence. but it's not looking great. So if you want to get better 10x photos, you might as well want to use 9.9 instead of 10x, and 10x is just simply bad. You can see here the noise and the oversharpening, just disgusting. Indoors, again, let's test the cat scenario. Samsung are known to often oversaturate their pictures, make them look nice, all the colors to pop out and etc. And in this case, you can see this was the more realistic picture the moment I took it. Both photos aren't that bad, right? I do believe that all of them did this hair strain separation quite nice. If we try to zoom in the eyes, I do believe that those photos in these scenarios are on par. But then again, the Samsung photo is just a bit too bright versus the reality. But in this case, a good job from both cameras. And now let's take the phone outside in the beautiful mountain and see what those cameras can do. This is shot with the main camera, and the first thing that is very obvious, even without zooming in too much, is the sky. These bending issues are here in daylight photos, also in night, and the separation between the foreground and the picture and the background, in this case the tree and the sky, is just not so good. And we have this glowing around the objects in the foreground that is actually very annoying. Else, colors, as you can see, are very much the same, so everything else is good in both pictures, but this is an issue here with the stock camera. See how saturated the sky is on the Google photo, and also we have a uniform color. Here in Samsung, if I start to zoom in, we can see some artifacts. It looks artificial. Let's quickly test the 5x optical zoom camera. I do believe the input from both photos is stable here. If we are to zoom in again, yes, the preservation of the shapes of the letters and the colors is really better on the Google photo. It's not so bad in the Samsung stock, but the moment you really start to zoom in, you can see again we have little artifacts that are around the lines, and this glow effect that really drives me crazy. But this is, I guess, the standard processing. Anyway, these shots are comparable and both of them are good. I'm really happy to see that at least the colors, so the color science, white balance is absolutely one and the same, almost, because here again the Samsung stock camera just a bit too bright, but overall you can see very sharp and on the object. It isn't so sharp here, but there are configs and you can really make it sharp. So I'm using here standard configs for day and night. This is the standard one for day. Both photos are very nice, very beautiful. And this next scenario is also from the main camera. Again, very beautiful shot from both phones, and this time the sky on the Samsung stock camera isn't bad, which is good. So we have very good output from the Samsung stock and the Google photo in this case. Now let's jump again to the 5x. A very beautiful scenery with something not so beautiful happening at the background, and here guys we see some degradation in the details. Just pay attention to the greenery. If I am to really zoom this in, the greenery, all these trees, the whole forest on the Samsung photo looks like an AI painting. Here on the Google photo we still have enough detail, enough texture, and we can see it's open. We have green and orange and a bit of a yellow. It looks just so much better. We can clearly see how much sharpness is applied by Samsung stock, and the moment we zoom this in, this really kills the whole photo. And this here is the 10x, but remember the 10x is just a crop from the 5x, so it's pretty much the same camera, but the processing with Samsung 10x is just awful. So if you want to get better 10x shot, just use 9.9. Both the S24 Ultra stock and the Google photo are good. I don't really think there is too much to nitpick here. The cutouts are good, the processing circuit the same, the white balance and the whole rendition is the same, so a good job from both cameras. Now let's go again to the back camera. This is a backlit scenario. Most people will tell you that this isn't a good scenario and it's better to have the sun behind your back. Of course we have here HDR, a lot of dynamics, right, and we can do wonders, and we can. But the stock camera in this scenario is just not good. We have so much aura, so much glowing, and the whole sky is a bit overexposed here in this section where the strong illumination is. So overall it isn't good. And this backlit scenario is even more extreme because there are not a lot of branches to cover the light, so it's directly shining at my camera, and you can see how the stock camera handles this. Both aren't able to do the best, but the Google camera still is able to control this crazy exposure a bit better. And now back to the main camera. You can see here this scenario is a regular one and it's not a backlit scenario, and still somehow With enough light, sometimes Samsung really overexposes the whole shot. And you're gonna see this later also on the night shots. This doesn't look great. Compare it to this. We have better shadows, more darker shadows. All the highlights are not really so visible like on the Samsung photo, but this photo looks more realistic. So which one do you prefer here? This one on the right or that one? I mean, if you prefer the left one, I guess that's your right, but I'll always go with the right one. This was one of the scenarios where the Samsung stock camera was actually able to properly do almost everything right. The sky looks good, the glowing here isn't that dramatic and bad, and those shots are so similar. But remember, on the right is Google camera and on the left is the stock. So it seems that sometimes, right, you can do nice pictures with stock too. Although, if we are here to nitpick, and this is why I'm doing this video, well, here you can see the uniform color rendition of the sky. We have deep blue, it's the same color. Here, more blue, here light blue, so it's still not at that level. But okay, in this case, I would say both of them are good. Now let's check a 5x shot. A lot of noise as well, and also loss of detail. Just look at the stones here, right? They don't really look like real stones. And here, guys, we can notice certain things that are just not visible on this very bright picture again. In this scenario, the greenery on the Google Photos is just more realistic at almost 620% magnification. We still have proper forms and square, but the quality just goes down. And the more I start to zoom in, the more obvious this is going to get. Again, back to the main camera with a very tricky scenario, because we have shadows here, 50% of the picture, and then everything well illuminated. And as you can imagine, the Samsung stock camera just isn't that good. And again, we have this aura, highlights glowing, like call it whatever you want, it's just annoying. All the colors here are so washed out because the Samsung processing really tries to make everything look so nice and bright, and at the end it just doesn't. Let me explain what do I mean. This here is the same photo taken seconds apart, and if you look this photo, we'll say it's brilliant. I mean, so much sun is shining there, but the thing is, it's not, because this is what actually I was saying with my own eyes. So again, Samsung stock processing is just trying to make everything so vibrant, so nice, but it's just fake. The Google photo here, absolutely better exposed, more realistic, all the colors, the shadows, like look at the shadows on the Samsung photo. They're almost not there. And you can of course fix this. You can play with Eevee, you can shoot RAW and whatever you do. And the point is that just by taking a photo, point to shoot, I got a better realistic looking photo with the Google camera. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Samsung stock portraits are very good, and this is the case here as well. Just take a look at the cutouts, absolutely perfect. The ear, all the hair, and we have of course that sweet bokeh, but that's adjustable. Not the best job from the Google camera, but I do prefer the face here better, because somehow Samsung didn't really manage well the exposure in this case, just a bit overexposing that part of the face, and the Google photo is just more natural in that case. Another portrait shot, and take a look at these shots, they're very close. Samsung processing illuminates the face a bit, the Google photo is probably a bit more realistic. Honestly, I'll go again here with the Samsung, although again, both of these shots are great. And another human photo with the main camera, this time no portrait, and I do believe that both phones were able to deliver nice results. Some more animal photos, in that case that's a spider. Honestly, I do like both of them. Samsung aggressive processing can sometimes ruin the picture, but in this case I do believe that is acceptable. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Another shot with the 5x camera, a beautiful shot, and I think that both photos are just very nice. And now let's move from the mountain to the city for some urban or street photography. Good result from all of them. The Samsung stock again has this yellow tint sometimes, but in this case this isn't so drastic. Still on the main camera and still visible in this scenario, some yellow tint and some overexposure that just steals from the whole experience. And also pay attention to the greenery. This is a problem, guys, on Samsung photos. If we start to zoom in, it becomes all painting from AI. This here retains detail, the colors are just so better, and it looks more natural. Another 5x shot, very same results, but let's start to zoom in and start to analyze. And you know how it goes, I really have to zoom in a lot to be able to capture some degradation. But this time the Samsung stock photo isn't dramatically different. This is an interesting one because again it's 5x, we have a lot of sun and the building is yellow. So let's try to see the color rendition, and overall I think it's okay. The Samsung stock photo on the left, the Google photo on the right. You can clearly see the face, the nose, the eyes, the mouth. It's the same on the Samsung photo, but it's also not the same because it just looks like with a lower resolution. And of course this isn't the standard Google camera, it's a mod with a very nice config. Some advanced settings are put there, and that's not only with all the small objects. See here, right? We can still recognize this thing here, but it's just so much better here. And then if I go up, again, this aura, this highlight, this line that absolutely drives me crazy. And also check at the lines. I think they're losing weight here. It feels like somebody just took a pencil and drew them. And here, like it's just realistic. Check the rust. This is 5x on a flower with a lot of sun. And honestly, I like the input from both cameras here. And now back again to the main camera. This one here has a lot of things that we can check for detail. It's a beautiful photo, a beautiful building, it's a theater. Let's try to zoom in and start analyzing. And honestly, Samsung here isn't so bad, right? Of course, if I have to zoom in at circa 100%, we can still see the degradation of the details, and I think it just looks artificial. I have a feeling like somebody putting a filter and decreasing the resolution, but overall, the sky isn't that bad and the color is on par with the Google photo. But if we start to check on the little things, yeah, it's quite obvious what is going on, and definitely still a better shot with the Google photo. And now let's check the ultra wide. The first thing that is very noticeable is that Samsung completely overexposing this thing here. There is no sky, no mountain almost, and here in the Google photo we can clearly see the mountain and also the sky. Another 5x shot without so much light, we're kind of losing this overall natural feeling, and we have artifacts almost everywhere. See here, even like the noise is so annoying here. Check on the Google photo, we just retain a very natural looking photo even when we zoom in, right? And this is only 150%. And remember when I said that Samsung really likes to bring everything up? Check this photo here. Check this photo on the right. Where is the shadow here? It's almost not there. Like everything is so pumped. It kind of loses the overall feeling of the photo. I did this photo because I really liked how the sun was illuminating the playground, and we have the light shining here and we have these shadows here. It's also obvious on the Samsung photo, but it's not that dramatic and it looks unnatural. This one I do believe it's quite obvious. Just pay attention to the house and the clouds above. So here we have a good combination of all that is actually bad with Samsung processing. The sky looks unnatural, we have highlights aura glowing around the trees, and it just doesn't look so great. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And the same scenario repeats also with the ultra wide. Here the stock camera was able to produce something that is not drastically different from the Google photo. Another one from the main camera, and now let's zoom in here because this is very tricky. This is very tricky, the breeze here, but overall good from both. And another one from the main camera. Yeah, we still have again all these things. I say a good combination of everything that is bad, but the object is good and the grass is not that bad. Actually, the grass looks good. Another shot with the main camera. Take a look here, right? And here. Oh, that's maybe a street, right? Here, if I show you this, yeah, I think you're not gonna know what it is. And now let's try to remove the light out of the equation and see what happens. So this is a shot from the main camera. And overall, right, Samsung did something nice. All the letters are so much readable, but when we start to zoom in here, we can see there is a drastic difference. On the shot here on the right, some of the letters are just tiny bit overexposed, but then everything else just looks more natural. And see even that office here. This really looks like Tetris on the Samsung photo. This looks so much better on the Google photo. And another shot from the main camera without a lot of light. Honestly, both of them aren't great, but take a look here. Again, I have a feeling somebody played some Tetris, put it there. This is the sign using the 5x optical camera. The Samsung photo shows this as a very red sign. The Google photo shows it a bit yellow and orange, so of course very harsh conditions to capture this. If we start to zoom in, we can clearly see how it's just falling apart. With so much aggressive processing, Samsung is applying a lot of noise reduction. We can clearly see some noise on the Google Photo, but then also a bit more of that natural look and a bit more of that detail. And you can just clearly see, right? Like even the shapes on some objects are no longer recognizable because of that heavy and aggressive processing. Another shot with the main camera, and this one is so good because we have a lot of external light, and it really shows how different these cameras are processing it. All the colors here are just different than the colors here, and the Google Photo is trying to maintain that exposure, and we can see on the Samsung Photo a lot of light, just trying to let everything there, make everything look so nice and vibrant, but the reality is closer to what we see here. But overall, both shots are good. But then again, Samsung starts to lose and degrade. We can still read what is there, but take a look at the letters and the lines. They're not so straight anymore here. Just you can see it goes like zigzag. Another shot from the main camera, this time indoors with a lot of artificial lighting. Honestly, both phones doing a good job again. Samsung is trying to just pump everything and sometimes overexposes a bit the highlights, right? You can see here we're starting to see a bit more of that highlights here, more realistic, better exposed, everything so much better contained. I have to zoom up to 500% so that you can clearly see what is going on here, and even more, I'm almost now at 700%. Another indoor shot, it's night, but we have a lot of artificial lighting, and honestly both cameras doing a good job. If we have to pixel peep, we can see that Samsung sometimes loses it with the highlights control, and then of course introducing this noise and sharpness almost in every shot. And another beautiful shot using 5x. This shot is actually very tasty. So many sweet things there on display, a lot of colors. The Google Photo is better at exposure control. Just check the light source here and here, but also the faces of the people. We have a lot of noise, right? Even when we start to zoom in at 300%, you can clearly see, not able to recognize the skin tone and etc. and the details even on the shirt. So overall, the Google Photo is better, but also pay attention to this very big sign, right? Like the real color is more like this. Now another shot with the main camera. Indoors, we have a painting and flowers. The moment we start to zoom in, all the flowers from the Samsung stock camera just become like a painting, and they are able to retain their natural look on the Google Photo. This is the one-to-one or side-by-side shot. And also, the Samsung shot is overexposed. Check the corners and the lights. So the lights here and then the corners. So overall, a better shot from the Google Photo camera. And now let's go really dark. On the left, we have a Samsung stock photo, night camera with the maximum exposure. I do believe it was 7 seconds. And it turns the night into a day. A lot of those phones do it, and I hate it. I don't like it. Here on the right, we cannot really see a lot, but it's a very realistic shot. We still are able to see more in the center of the object, where apparently Samsung just overexposed everything and turned this into something not recognizable. I really prefer to have realistic night shots. Just also pay attention to the sky. The sky wasn't like this, the sky was like this here on the right. And another shot like this, where Samsung tries to make the night appear as a day, but then at the end, the result is really questionable. So I do really prefer something that is way more realistic, like that one on the right. And you can still get something like this with the Google cameras if you use proper night set with all of that, but this is the more realistic shot. Now guys, I showed you a lot of photos, ultra wide, back camera, 5x, front camera. The 3x sadly doesn't work in Gcam right now. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you think that there are more advantages in using a Google camera versus the stock camera for just a pure point-and-shoot experience, or you're happy with the stock results? Let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching, stay safe, VST over and bye.